This video is intended for audiences 18 and over. How well do you truly know the unseen shadows that can lurk just beyond the edge of your perception, even in the safest, most familiar places? Can the very comfort of routine blind us to the most insidious threats? Tonight, we delve into a case that ripped apart the serene illusion of a peaceful college town, forcing a community to confront the brutal reality that evil can wear an unexpected face. We will dissect the events, explore the crucial turning points, and extract powerful lessons to sharpen your instincts and fortify your world. The first hints of morning light, usually a comforting embrace, instead cast a pallor over the quiet streets of Moscow, Idaho. Inside the home, at 1122 King Road, an unnatural quiet had taken root, a chilling departure from the vibrant energy that typically filled the shared space of 6 young students. On the first floor, 2 roommates stirred, completely unaware that just hours earlier, an unspeakable violation had occurred in the rooms above them. As the morning wore on, a profound creeping unease began to settle in. Where were Madison and Kaylee? Why hadn't Xana and Ethan emerged? Their absence a stark, unsettling void? It wasn't the sound of a struggle, nor a desperate cry for help, that pierced the morning calm, but rather the unsettling absence of life itself. A stillness too profound, too absolute to ignore. One roommate, increasingly concerned by this inexplicable quiet, perhaps rationalizing it as a late morning sleep-in, or the lingering effects of a late-night gathering, reached out. She called not emergency services, but friends, seeking a shared sense of normal, a reassuring voice to dispel the growing prickle of worry. But when those friends arrived, the atmosphere inside the house shifted dramatically. The quiet transformed into an overwhelming, palpable dread, as if the very air itself held its breath. A hesitant call to 911 eventually reported an unconscious person, a desperate, almost instinctive attempt to name what was, in that moment, utterly unfathomable. Yet, upon the arrival of law enforcement, the chilling reality was laid bare. 4 young lives extinguished, their vibrant futures abruptly cut short in a devastating act of violence. It was a scene of unimaginable consequence, an indelible tragedy that would forever alter the perception of safety in this once idyllic community. The horror of that discovery would reverberate across the nation, leaving everyone with a single, echoing question: what unspeakable violation had transpired within these walls, and who could be capable of such an unthinkable act? Welcome to the story, here on True Crime Deep Dive. On November 13th, 2022, the lives of Madison Mogan, 21, Kaylee Gonkovs, 21, Xana Kernodle, 20, and Ethan Chapin, 24, bright and popular University of Idaho students, were tragically ended. They were a close-knit group, friends, some roommates, their individual paths intricately woven into the vibrant tapestry of college life. Madison, Kaylee, and Xana resided in the 3-story rental home on King Road, a place they had undoubtedly considered their sanctuary, merely a brief walk from the bustling campus. Ethan, Xana's boyfriend, was simply spending the night, a common and innocent occurrence among young couples everywhere. The evening prior to this devastating discovery had unfolded in a manner typical for college students. Kaylee and Madison enjoyed a night out at a local establishment, sharing laughter and conversation, while Xana and Ethan attended a campus party. All 4 had returned to their homes safely after 1:45 a.m., completely unaware that their sense of security, their very lives, were about to be shattered by a calculated and brutal act. 2 additional female roommates were also present in the house, occupying rooms on the first floor. In a turn of events that defied immediate comprehension, they remained physically unharmed, their slumber tragically undisturbed by the catastrophic incidents unfolding in the rooms above them. This stark contrast would later become a harrowing detail, adding another layer of unsettling mystery to an already incomprehensible situation. The full, devastating extent of the tragedy remained tragically hidden until nearly noon the following day. One of the surviving roommates, growing increasingly concerned by the profound quiet that enveloped the house, and believing someone might have merely passed out, reached out to friends for support and assistance. It was then, from one of the surviving roommates' phones, that a 911 call was ultimately placed, reporting an unconscious person. The arrival of police officers to the King Road residence confirmed the community's worst fears. They were met with the devastating aftermath of an attack that had claimed the lives of all 4 students in their beds on the 2nd and 3rd floors of the house. The precise nature of their passing was one of brutal finality, leaving behind an indelible mark of profound loss and an overwhelming sense of injustice that echoed far beyond the walls of that house. The shock was immediate, profound, and deeply unsettling. In the agonizing weeks that followed, the town of Moscow, Idaho, found itself paralyzed, gripped by a chilling wave of fear unlike anything it had ever known. With no immediate suspect identified, no murder weapon located, and no clear publicly stated motive established, a palpable sense of vulnerability descended upon the small, usually tranquil community. The illusion of safety had been irrevocably shattered. Students, many consumed by pervasive fear and anxiety, began to vacate the campus en masse, even before the scheduled Thanksgiving break, transforming the once lively university grounds into a hushed, almost deserted landscape. The limited details released by law enforcement, while a necessary measure to protect the integrity of the ongoing, high-stakes investigation, unfortunately contributed to a climate of rampant online speculation and growing public frustration. Each passing day without answers amplified the collective unease. The agonizing wait for clarity stretched on, leaving the victims' families, their friends, and a heartbroken community in a state of profound uncertainty, relentless grief, and a desperate yearning for justice. The very air in Moscow felt heavy with unspoken questions and the weight of an incomprehensible loss. The quiet town was now defined by a haunting silence, a stark reminder of the lives that had been so cruelly taken. Behind the scenes, however, a massive, multi-agency investigation was meticulously piecing together a complex puzzle of digital and forensic clues. The breakthrough moments, though slow to emerge, would prove critical. Investigators made a public appeal, seeking information about a specific white Hyundai Elantra that had been captured on surveillance video near the King Road home around the time of the devastating incident. This seemingly small detail proved to be a pivotal thread, allowing law enforcement to meticulously track the vehicle's movements, eventually linking it to a particular individual. Concurrently, cell phone tower data began to reveal an unsettling pattern. The suspect's phone had been detected in the vicinity of the victim's residence at least 12 times in the months leading up to the attack, hinting at a disturbing pattern of surveillance. Crucially, this same phone was reportedly turned off during the precise hours of the attack, a common tactic used to evade detection, only to reactivate and ping towers along a route leading away from Moscow shortly after the tragic event. The most compelling physical evidence emerged from the crime scene itself. A tan leather knife sheath discovered adjacent to Madison Mogen's body. On the button snap of this sheath, investigators found a singular source of male DNA, a trace that did not match anyone within National Criminal Database. These disparate pieces of information, painstakingly gathered and analyzed, were slowly but surely converging, pointing towards a chilling truth and an unexpected suspect. Transitioning from the devastating facts of the case, we now turn our attention to a critical layer of analysis, the what-if scenarios. In the wake of such a profound tragedy, it is natural to search for moments where different decisions or a heightened sense of awareness might have altered the outcome. This exercise is not about assigning blame, but about identifying vulnerabilities and drawing lessons for a safer future. We explore hypothetical turning points, examining how seemingly minor details, if noticed or acted upon, could have averted this unthinkable series of events. Let us consider two pivotal turning points in this case. The first centers on the white Hyundai Elantra and the broader aspect of community vigilance and individual situational awareness. The vehicle was a critical piece of evidence. Its movements tracked both before and after the incident. What if, in the weeks or even months leading up to that terrible night, a neighbor, a resident, or even one of the victims had noticed this specific vehicle, or any unfamiliar car, repeatedly lingering in their quiet, residential area? Imagine a scenario where a watchful resident, perhaps walking their dog late at night, or simply observing their surroundings, had seen this car numerous times, exhibiting no clear purpose other than its lingering presence. This type of reconnaissance is a hallmark of calculated predatory behavior. What if they had taken note of its license plate, or even simply reported their general unease about a recurring unfamiliar presence to local campus security or the non-emergency police line? Such an observation, seemingly insignificant at the time, could have been logged, creating an early warning signal. This isn't about fostering paranoia, but about cultivating a subtle, yet active, awareness of one's environment. The comfortable rhythm of a college town, where unfamiliar faces often blend in, can inadvertently create a false sense of security, allowing a predator to operate with a degree of anonymity. Had a preliminary report been made, even if it led nowhere immediately, it could have established a critical timeline, potentially highlighting a pattern of reconnaissance that could have been intervened upon. The very act of reporting, of bringing an anomaly to light, often forces those who wish to remain hidden to either cease their activities or become more visible, increasing their risk of detection. This simple act of vigilance, a quiet acknowledgement that something feels off, could become a potent, albeit passive, deterrent, potentially disrupting the predator's carefully constructed plan before it escalated. The second critical turning point revolves around the unsettling pattern of the suspect's presence in the vicinity of the victim's home. Cell phone tower data revealed that Bryan Kohberger's phone had been detected in the area of King Road at least 12 times in the months preceding the attack. This suggests a methodical pattern of surveillance, a meticulous gathering of information, possibly observing routines, vulnerabilities, and entry points. This wasn't a random act. It was a calculated exploration of a target. A predator engaging in this type of pre-offense behavior is meticulously assessing risk, identifying opportune moments, and mapping out every detail to minimize their own exposure while maximizing the impact of their actions. They thrive on anonymity and predictability. What if the students themselves, or their friends, had discussed or even subconsciously registered a suspicious individual or a recurring unfamiliar car in their immediate neighborhood? In the hustle of student life, such observations are often dismissed as coincidences or attributed to harmless passersby. But what if a friend had said, "Hey, I keep seeing that white car parked a few blocks over, always late at night near our place. It's odd, don't you think? Or you notice that same person walking by our house multiple times this week, even when it's cold." These seemingly casual remarks, if taken with even a slight degree of seriousness, could have prompted a collective conversation about personal safety. The power of shared observation is immense. What might seem like a fleeting oddity to one person could become a significant red flag when corroborated by another. A discussion among roommates about weird vibes could lead to simple, yet effective, precautionary measures, such as a group chat message to alert everyone to an unusual sight, or a simple agreement to always ensure doors are double-checked. Consider an alternate timeline where these subtle warnings were acknowledged and acted upon. The roommates, perhaps spurred by a heightened sense of awareness or a discussion about unusual occurrences, decide to reinforce their home's security. They might have ensured all doors and windows were locked more diligently, a practice often neglected in student housing or comfortable neighborhoods. They might have invested in a simple motion sensor light for the exterior, which can startle a would-be intruder, or a basic doorbell camera, measures that, in hindsight, might seem small, but could have created significant deterrence. A basic camera, for instance, could have captured clearer images of the vehicle or the individual, providing crucial immediate evidence that might have expedited the investigation dramatically. A locked door, even a slightly more robust one, could have bought precious seconds, created noise during an attempted entry, or presented a sufficient challenge that might have dissuaded the perpetrator entirely, causing them to abandon their plans or seek an easier target. Predators often seek the path of least resistance, and even minor obstacles can disrupt their calculated approach, making the perceived risk outweigh the potential reward. The very act of having to force an entry increases the risk of detection and leaves more forensic evidence, something a meticulous perpetrator actively avoids. The tragic reality is that in close-knit communities, there is often a natural tendency to trust, to assume the best, and to perceive one's environment as inherently safe. This human inclination, while fostering community spirit, can unfortunately be exploited by those who meticulously seek vulnerabilities. They rely on the normalcy of a peaceful setting, on the routines and habits of their targets, and on the general lack of suspicion to operate unnoticed. The role of chance also played a devastating part. The precise timing of the victim's return home, the deep sleep of the downstairs roommates, the perpetrator's chosen entry and exit points. A slight deviation in any of these elements could have led to a profoundly different outcome. If the downstairs roommates had woken up, even partially, due to unusual noises, perhaps from the perpetrator's movements or a pet's reaction, the perpetrator might have been deterred or interrupted, potentially preventing the full extent of the tragedy. Even a dog barking at an unusual hour can change a predator's calculus, causing them to flee. Such small, seemingly insignificant decisions, or the collective lack thereof, coupled with the predator's calculated patience, converge to create the horrific sequence of events. Exploring these what-ifs helps us recognize the subtle cues and the crucial moments where proactive measures, born from a refined sense of situational awareness, could become powerful shields, transforming passive observation into active prevention. It underscores the idea that our collective and individual vigilance forms the first, and often most critical, line of defense against unforeseen dangers, challenging the illusion of absolute safety in our familiar surroundings. The profound tragedy of the Idaho 4 teaches us a crucial, albeit difficult, core lesson. The illusion of absolute safety in familiar environments can be a dangerous vulnerability. It underscores the critical importance of cultivating heightened situational awareness and implementing proactive security measures, even when an environment feels inherently secure. This case serves as a stark reminder that true safety is not merely the absence of visible threat, but the active presence of vigilance and preparedness. It challenges us to look beyond the surface, to recognize that the very comfort we derive from routine can sometimes mask deeper, more insidious dangers. The psychology behind flawed decisions, or rather, the absence of crucial preventative action, often stems from several common cognitive biases and the methodical manipulation tactics of a perpetrator. In peaceful communities, there is a widespread normalcy bias, where individuals tend to assume that unusual or threatening events will not happen to them, especially in their safe haven. This mental shortcut can lead to a collective desensitization to minor anomalies, like a repeatedly seen unfamiliar vehicle or an individual lingering without apparent reason. A perpetrator like Bryan Kohberger, with his academic background in criminology, likely possessed a keen understanding of this psychological landscape. He meticulously scouted, observed routines, and identified the precise moments and methods to exploit these inherent human tendencies and environmental vulnerabilities. His actions were not impulsive or random. They were a chilling masterclass in exploiting predictable human behavior and comfortable assumptions. The bystander effect can also play a role, where individuals might notice something unusual, but assume someone else has already seen it, or that it's not their place to report, leading to a diffusion of responsibility. This collective inaction or assumption of safety creates a fertile ground for a predator to operate, allowing them to remain undetected as they plan their devastating actions. Understanding these psychological pitfalls is the first step towards overcoming them. To empower ourselves and foster a safer world, we can distill these insights into specific, actionable steps. 1. Elevate your situational awareness to an active practice. This goes beyond simply being aware. Make it a conscious, deliberate effort to observe your surroundings, particularly when entering or leaving your home or navigating familiar route. Train yourself to notice recurring vehicles, unfamiliar faces, or unusual patterns in your neighborhood that deviate from the norm. If you consistently see a car parked in odd locations, or an individual lingering without apparent purpose for an extended period, make a mental note. Trust your gut feeling. If something feels genuinely off, or evokes a prickle of unease, it probably warrants further attention. This isn't about paranoia, but about cultivating an informed, active intuition that serves as an early warning system. Do not hesitate to report anything genuinely suspicious to authorities, even if it seems minor or you're unsure of its significance. A non-emergency line exists precisely for these kinds of observations, and your small piece of information could be the crucial link in a larger complex puzzle, potentially preventing a future tragedy. 2. Fortify your home security with layered defense. Even in supposedly safe areas, prioritize consistent and robust home security. Make it a non-negotiable habit to consistently lock all doors and windows, every time, without exception, even if you're home, just stepping out for a moment or sleeping. Many perpetrators exploit unlocked entries. Invest in strong, reliable locks for all entry points, and consider reinforcing doors and window frames. Furthermore, implement affordable, yet highly effective, security technologies such as motion sensor exterior lights, which can powerfully startle and expose an intruder under the cover of darkness, or a doorbell camera that provides a clear view of who approaches your home. These devices not only act as significant deterrents by increasing the risk of detection for a perpetrator, but can also provide crucial photographic or video evidence if an incident occurs. A layered defense, combining physical barriers with visible technological deterrents, significantly elevates the risk for a potential perpetrator, making your home a far less appealing target. 3B. Establish a robust communication and buddy system. Never underestimate the profound power of social connection in enhancing personal safety. Make it a habit to always inform someone of your plans, especially when you are out late, attending events, or traveling alone. Establish a clear check-in system with roommates, trusted friends, or family members, where you confirm your safe arrival or departure. Consider sharing your live location with trusted contacts when necessary, particularly during high-risk situations. This creates an invaluable network of awareness and accountability, ensuring that if you deviate from your expected plans or go silent, someone will notice and can act quickly. Predators often thrive on isolation and anonymity. Conversely, a strong, visible network of support acts as a powerful countermeasure against their insidious tactics. 4. Recognize and respond to potential stalking or surveillance. Educate yourself on the subtle, often unnerving, signs of potential stalking or persistent surveillance. This can include repeated sightings of the same individual or vehicle in unusual or inappropriate contexts, unusual inquiries about your personal routine from strangers, or an inexplicable, persistent sense of being watched. If you suspect you are being watched, followed, or subjected to unusual attention, immediately begin to document everything. Record dates, times, specific locations, and detailed descriptions of individuals or vehicles involved. Trust your instincts and report these incidents to law enforcement without delay, even without a direct, overt threat. A developing pattern of suspicious activity is a legitimate and serious concern that warrants investigation. Ignoring these early warning signs can inadvertently provide a perpetrator with the confidence and opportunity to escalate their actions, turning a disconcerting observation into a tangible threat. The lives of Madison, Kaylee, Sana, and Ethan were tragically cut short, a devastating reminder of the vulnerabilities we all face, even in what appear to be the safest environments. Through their story, we learn the profound importance of awareness, vigilance, and community in protecting ourselves and one another. May their memories serve as a perpetual call to action, inspiring us to build a world where such senseless loss can be more effectively prevented, where we actively challenge the illusion of safety with informed preparedness and unwavering communal support. If you enjoyed this story, please like and share this video, and leave a comment with your thoughts. Don't forget to subscribe to the True Crime Deep Dive channel, and hit the notification bell so you don't miss any new videos.